Hey, how's it going? Bryce here from MajorImpactMedia.com, and in today's video, I want to talk about the mindset and what you can expect when you get started with paid advertising. I think advertising is one of the fastest, best ways you can grow an online business. If you have a digital product or something for sale, one of the best things you can do is get an advertising campaign up that goes out and gets your message in front of the right people. The challenge for a lot of businesses is they don't know what to expect when they're getting started with advertising. And so they take a couple of bad swings and they give up before they find success. And so that's what I want to talk about today is what you can expect when you're getting started with advertising and what you need to focus on in the beginning so that you can find success. Here's the first big tip that I tell all of my clients when we're getting started is in the very beginning of your advertising campaigns, we're just buying data. That's it. We're not expecting a home run. We're not expecting that we're going to turn ads on and you're going to start rolling in sales super fast. All we want to do is buy data from the marketplace. You've got an offer, you've got something you want to present. We're going to put together some messaging that we think is going to resonate with certain audiences. And we're going to go out and we're going to put that message in front of those audiences. And we just want to collect information and find out, are we right? It's like a science experiment. Is our hypothesis correct? Did this message resonate with this audience strongly enough that we could potentially be profitable with this campaign? And so if we spend, let's say $500 or $1,000, we are not expecting that all of that is going to be profitable. What we're expecting is somewhere in that data, we're gonna find some winners and we're gonna find some losers. Even the pros, we don't expect to hit a home run right out the gate. So when you're getting started, you have to have this awareness that it's a process to get things going. One of the coolest things about online advertising is now you actually do have the visibility and the data into what's going on with your advertising. There was an old saying a long time ago about half of the advertising that I spend works. The problem is I don't know what half. It used to be that you would spend all of this money to get magazines and billboards and all this stuff and you didn't know where your money went. Now you can track down to the impression, what audience, what click, where are they going, what pages are they visiting, how far are they making it in your sales process. All of that stuff is available and it's so valuable when we're getting in the beginning. But again, this first part of your campaign, we're just buying data from the marketplace. By the time you've spent $2,000, $3,000, you've got a ton of valuable information on how your messaging is resonating with certain people in the marketplace, and you can go start to make iterations in order to optimize your campaigns. The second thing that I think a lot of people could better understand when they're trying to get started with advertising is that ads are what get attention for your offers, but offers are what really grow your business. So if you're just getting started, I see this all the time with businesses where what they do is they come up with their idea, they figure out the way they want to package their product, right? How they want to offer their product to the marketplace. And they build a sales funnel, they start running ad campaigns, and they spend all of their time and energy testing the different colors of the ad and testing the headlines on the ads, but they don't test anything that happens after the ad click. And the truth is that the ads are what get attention, and you definitely want to do some testing on your ads. But especially when you're just getting started, the offer and the way you're presenting it to the market is what's really going to grow your business. How you're positioning your product and how you're offering your product to people is going to have a massive impact on the success of your ad campaigns, because you can't make up for a bad offer. If it's just not compelling, or your conversion mechanism, right? Like if you're using a webinar, if your conversion mechanism, webinar, is not converting and you don't have an appealing offer at the end, there's no amount of targeting and ad changes that you can make to your campaign to start to make it profitable. The ads are simply a way to get people's attention, and show them what solution you could provide them and get their attention into your funnel, right? But the thing you really need to focus on, especially in the beginning, is what is your offer and how are you positioning that in the marketplace? So my third tip that I talk with clients a lot about is we really want to figure out how we can spend the most money possible to acquire a customer. And what I mean by this is a lot of businesses, especially when you're just getting started or if you're a new advertiser, so many people are focused on how do they get really cheap leads? How do they get really cheap clicks? And people who are pros, who are experts, realize that the thing we want to figure out how to do is how do we maximize the value of a customer so that we can spend as much money as possible and still be profitable and be able to grow our business. So just to give you like a little example here, right? Let's say I have a product to sell, right? And I know that my customer is gonna spend $40. And so I'm willing to spend up to $20 to acquire a customer because, I need a 50% margin to have a healthy business and pay for my expenses and all that stuff. So I'm willing to spend $20 to acquire customers. So I can spend, $2,000, $3,000 a month acquiring customers up to this $20 mark. And then that's where I've got to just stay because I'm not willing to spend more than $20 to acquire a customer. At the same time, there's another business in the exact same marketplace who's competing for the exact same customer, and they know that their customers are going to spend $100. And so they're willing to spend up to $50 to acquire a customer. So once I stop at 20, they're just going to start outspending me. And they're going to acquire more customers and they're going to grow faster because they're willing to spend more to acquire a customer. So what happens with this when we're working with clients is we always tell our clients, like, our job is to maximize your ad campaigns so that we can keep your costs down. But what we need you to be doing on the back end is maximizing that value of a customer, because once we're scaling and once we're spending more money acquiring more customers, we want to be able to grow aggressively. And that means we can't be focused on how do we get the cheapest leads and the cheapest customers. We need to figure out how do we maximize your volume based on the company's goals, right? But how do we get you as many customers as possible within your healthy profit margin? When you're working with this kind of mindset, of course, one thing you're trying to do is keep your costs on the ad platform down, right? Come up with new ads, come up with new creatives, come up with new angles. But the other side of things is maximizing and optimizing everything that happens after the ad click so that you're able to spend more to acquire a customer. And as costs on ad platforms go up, as more competitors come into the marketplace, as it gets more and more challenging to be able to run effective advertising campaigns, you can maximize the growth of your business by being able to spend more to acquire a customer and still keeping that healthy profit margin that you need to be able to grow your business. So those are my 3 tips for businesses that are trying to get started with advertising. The big thing here is it's not trying to figure out whether or not ads are going to work for your business. The big thing here is figuring out how do you make advertising work for your business. I really believe that every business can profit from advertising, but you have to figure out what's the right way to set it up. You've got to have the right offers, you've got to have compelling ad campaigns, and you've got to have the right mindset around how you're structuring your customer acquisition campaigns so that you can spend money, get a customer, have a healthy profit margin, and grow your business. Advertising is always going to be this process of testing and iteration and optimization, but I really believe that every business can find success with this advertising. So I hope that you can use these 3 mindset shifts to kind of reframe the way that you think about advertising with your business so that you can find success. You can tap into a lot of the opportunity that's out there with these ad platforms. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.